Welcome to bLU Talks. All right, so you guys are sort of used to this, but I'll give you the sort of rundown. We're doing a quick podcast video interview. I'm also saying that and setting that tone for the video itself, the end result. So we're doing a podcast video interview. We try to do this at all our bLU Talks events. I love it because you get to see the other side. Often it's the speaker that's going to be speaking or has spoken. So you get to see the other side of them because in a back and forth, things come out that wouldn't necessarily. And so I love this myself. And so Paul Brent, I'm super excited to have you up here with us. And you've seen you know now the pattern. First thing I want to do is just get you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you very much, Corey, for the opportunity to be here. I'm going to start with that because without people like you that lead the world, I don't have this opportunity per se. And in that, who's Paul? Paul is someone who is extremely grateful to have this opportunity to be alive and share in the world. And I think that through my experiences of frontline worker all the way up through management and discovering that I wasn't filling my bucket or my desires to have a happy and healthy life for me. I believed I was in many areas, but it was really masks and false understandings of who Paul is. So that question is actually really deep for me to who is Paul? I'm still in discovery, but I'm a guy with a whole bunch of passion and an ability to connect from heart that I think is something that we really need in our world to bond and connect to the genuine love that we should be sharing.
So I love that, and I'll tell you when you said who is Paul and deep introspection, and obviously I'm a product of the things I experienced, but 3 weeks ago I went to an event, and for some people in the room I think it was life transforming. Like I've been to, it was a Jack Canfield retirement event, but I've been to his events before, so it was life-changing, but in the sense that I've already been to some, so it wasn't the same type of life-changing, if that makes sense. But one of the things that I loved that they did was they kept getting us into breakout groups and little groups, and I took a lot of inspiration for when we do our mastermind so that you can feel like you're in the room with just one other person instead of hundreds. And he had 400 people in the room, and I didn't feel like it. But one of the things they kept getting us they got us to go and talk about was who is, and insert name here, right? So who is Corey Poirier? And then I would answer, and then they say, who is Corey Poirier? And then I would answer, and who is, and so they were getting deeper and deeper. Like, I'm a father, I'm a whatever, I have a big heart, I'm passionate. But it was interesting to see, like you said, the introspection you can go to just by keep asking yourself who you really are at the core. Because the very first one is, I'm a speaker. It's always your career.
Yeah.
And then it was interesting to see the layers.
Right. And in that introspection, as we unfold who we really are, even in that question right at that moment, I was feeling exceptionally vulnerable because how do I describe myself without feeling that I'm being egotistical or arrogant or trying to build myself up more? And it was that's a hard question. And until you can really dig deep and discover genuinely who are you and recognize also that it's an evolution every day, every moment, we're not the same person we were when we started this conversation. So embracing that I am who I am at this moment.
I love that. And I mean, I want to explore things like the law of attraction, because I know you focus on that, and I think that's a big area for a lot of people. And maybe I'll go there first. So the law of attraction, I think everybody here probably is, it's some sense is familiar with it. Of course, The Secret was, I believe, in a lot of ways, the thing that opened up more people to the idea of what law of attraction is. But and there's a whole conversation we could have there about, I've interviewed people in The Secret, and they talked about what they felt it got wrong, which was the action component. Mm-hmm. Like you watched that and you felt like it should just appear magically. It even showed a magic lamp where you can wish on it. Right. But I guess the question is, and I want to share with you somebody's work who I followed, who I believe gets deeper to the root of why the law of attraction doesn't always work for everybody. But I'd like to get your take on it. Like, how do we practice it, in your opinion, practically? The law of bringing stuff into life. Because for some people, just to say, well, your thoughts become things, or if you think about it, you'll visualize it. That you'll make it. Not everybody believes that or can understand that. So can you give us some tangible ways we can actually use the law of attraction?
Wow, that's a really great focused question, and I appreciate that because it's so broad to comprehend how it's given to us. The emotions that you feel, the energy that you put out into the world, the things that you ask for, is what's going to come back to you. So being aware of the phrasing of the words, that's key number one. The energy that you're putting out is what you're going to get back. Now, you may say certain things in the position that you're at, this is what I want, but what does your heart really feel? And that's the energy that's being broadcast. It's not what you're saying per se. It's got the ripple, it's got the vibration, it's carrying that wave. But if that wave is truly coming from in your heart and you're feeling deceptive and you're hiding it, I mean, it's going to come out in the throat chakra. If it's held back, you don't get the genuine resonance that you're supposed to carry. So that's one. Speak your truth and ask for what you want. You must be very clear, very precise. The other one is believing. Remove the doubt. That's the hardest challenge I have in that realm. Is because of, again, my past 57 years of everything and listening to people saying, well, you can't do this and that, and that comparison level. Yeah, I'd love to be Tony Robbins, but you actually pointed out to me, why don't you just be Paul? And that was, again, earning and owning and living in my truth. And that was what empowered me to embrace the full law of attraction. So minding my words, asking for what I wanted, believing that it is possible, and then arriving for it, watching for it, being aware. You mentioned that in your book, The Enlightened Passenger. Just be aware and look for what's out there. If you've asked for it, it is coming.
Well, one of the things I talked about in the book is I keep a synchronicity journal. So it's believing it's coming, but then also acknowledging it, to your point, but acknowledging it. Like, so I write it down and say, I can't believe this happened or whatever it is. And I message Shelly when I'm on the road, like a quick example, not to jump in a different direction, but I've a couple times I've talked about going to Brendan's event this week, and I shared outside that I actually put on my goals list. One of my goals was, because I've spent time with a lot of influencers. Brendan, somebody I've been a fan of for a while, and I want to meet Brendan this year. And I put that on about a month ago. And I didn't know I was going to the Ultra event because I thought I wouldn't be able to go because of Shelly, what was going on. But she encouraged me to go. And then I reached out to Brendan's right hand and said, is there any way I can meet Brendan at this one? And then he said, normally you can only meet a certain number of people, but since this is your first one in 4 times, I'll talk to him. Long story short, I get to spend whatever amount of time, it was 10 or 15 minutes with Brendan, but I literally put it on my goals list or manifestation board or whatever less than a month ago. So to me, that's an example of how quick it can manifest. Yes. But I also have to acknowledge it. So I've told a lot of people, oh, look, I put this in my goals list. I'm not just telling you to go look at me. I'm telling you actually to acknowledge to the universe, thank you for this. But I will add one thing, and I'd like to get your take on it, is there's this lady named Cappy Pidwell who wrote this book called Something Code. And what I love in her book that she revealed that I felt was a big eye-opener for me around the law of attraction, and tied to, if you ever heard of Neville Goddard, he's the kind of the pioneer of it, a law of attraction. He had a book called Feeling is the Secret. And what she talked about in her book was the challenge most of us have is we're on a conscious level saying, I'm a millionaire, and then we're going to book a flight and we're looking for the lowest price flight.
Yeah.
So, but your unconscious mind's smart enough to know you're telling yourself, I'm not. I'm not, even though I say I am. And what she said is, so instead what she writes is, I'm beginning to believe that I will be a millionaire this year. Right. And she said that the idea of beginning to believe is more believable to her than saying I'm a millionaire when her subconscious mind knows it's not. Completely. I'd love to get your take on that, because I feel like for me that was a big answer.
Yeah, it was, and it really encompassed everything that I would share back in that. The idea that feeling, the belief, right? I was mentored by Michael Lozier himself, the author of the Law of Attraction book. And to me, I seek out powerful connections for people who want bettering in life. And again, here's witness to the Law of Attraction in action. I'm sitting on stage with Corey Poirier. Oh. Like, this is amazing to me. And this is the step into the next level of my existence as a speaker, author, entertainer, etc. So in believing that it's possible, really believing it's possible, anything is possible. And here we are again. So
that's a key thing what you just said. So I didn't mean to interject.
No, that's fine. This is conversation.
But I mean, that what he just said, I don't know if you caught that, but this is proof, like real time.
Yes.
And also the other side is believing anything's possible. Like that's, I think most of us have seen enough miraculous things. Mm-hmm. Like we've seen an amazing talk today. They talked about, what's possible, right? Such an inspirational talk. And it shows like what's possible. Everybody can achieve almost anything if they put in the hours, but I'm also a realist.
Big but.
And I'm a realist too. And I'll say there are some exceptions. For example, without not astral projection, But physically, you can't right now say, I'm going to jump to the moon and jump back.
Correct.
There are some things that are not possible, but we know that so much is, that even stuff we believed wasn't possible, that should be enough to believe that I could be a millionaire is possible.
Yeah.
That's my summary of that.
Let's summarize that a different way, is that everything that we once believed and now is coming true to light. We've actually had so much things in my 57 years, again, that when I was young, that's not possible. And now it completely is.
100%.
Right? Captain Kirk here, we've got digital communicators and all this other stuff, and global communication. Who would have thought of that when I was a kid, except it was sci-fi.
The Jetsons, they thought of it.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Anyways, that's a whole new conversation we'll go on to.
Well, you know what, Shelley watches the Jetsons for some reason all the time now. She keeps talking like, oh my God, like FaceTime. They have everything that they showed, we have almost in our life now. Okay. We're almost at flying cars. Right. We have self-driving cars already.
I'm going to take a moment to jump on that one, because I heard a rumor that the Jetsons are actually before the Flintstones.
I don't know.
They are this history. This is the Flintstones, the modern Stone Age family. Right? But I heard this rumor that the Jetsons were actually in this civilization where we're headed to be all glory.
Oh, I see what you mean.
And then there was a crash. We heard some conversations about AI and how things were used, and that's a possibility, blah, blah, blah. But that crash and then the rebuild was the Flintstones coming up, because they are using all these technologies or whatever, or wanting to replicate. So anyways, that's a whole new fun side. And which leads me into this: anything is possible, law of attraction. You put it out there, the right words, the right energy around it, the heart brings it to you, as long as you're open to then receive. And that all comes down to, I guess I'm going to jump ahead because I know we're going to get into this final questioning thing. So I'm going to beat you to it.
Okay.
In a final answer, if you ask me what would be one tip of advice to anybody, take action. In the law of attraction, I ask for all these things, I bring it forward, but if I don't get off my ass and do something about it, go open the door to I can order a dozen pizzas. This is what I want, order it 100 times. If I don't actually go and open the door and receive the pizza, then it's still sitting there. And so you created a doorway for me to knock on, and again, here I am.
So I love that distinction, and I will say that's a great metaphor that he just shared, and it makes me think of, you guys have probably, some of you heard me share it before, but one of the things similar that Lisa Nichols. So
love her.
Yeah, so I'm saying you're at the same level, like what you shared is just as profound as what Lisa shares. Lisa talks about how, because I asked her about I've interviewed I said the number, but about 7 or 8 people that were in The Secret, and I said, do you think it got anything wrong? And it wasn't to disparage it, but I just felt the action piece was missing, but I wondered, was that just me? And they all said the same. John Assaraf, Dr. Joe Vitale. Joe said the number one secret in the world of success is persistence. This is the guy that wrote the Law of Attraction books and said it's persistence. But Lisa, what she said, which I love, is you could have the best vision board the world's ever known on your wall and sit there for a year watching TV and looking at that vision board at every commercial break. But if you don't get off that couch, all you're going to have at the end of that year is a lump on the couch.
That's right.
And, the same thing.
And engaging in that same, people want to go back to school and get a degree or something, but it's going to take me 7 years to master this and things like that. Well, in the grand scheme of things, yeah, it'll take you 7 years to get that master's degree and where you want to go, but you could choose not to do anything with it, and that same 7 years still passes. And all you end up with is a bunch of, well, I wish I had, shoulda, coulda, wouldas, which then feeds into, well, that's why you're sitting where you're sitting.
Absolutely.
So let's move it and say, let's bring the world forward.
I love it. So let me ask you the last question. And you skipped ahead and you answered what was the last one. So I'll ask you the second last one, which is just simply, and it's probably should be the last question, which is, how can we learn more? Like, what have you have on the go? Where would you send people?
Well, thank you so much. Paul at pauldbrent.com is my email direct, or you can check out my website at pauldbrent.com, and that is for living on purpose, direct coaching, as well as my link contacts. I've got LinkedIn, you can find me there, Facebook, a whole bunch of different areas, and I'm looking forward to launching here. I mentioned it, the Wisdom Well, where I get to share 57 years of knowledge, a whole bunch of insights from lessons learned, and bringing them forward to help people know that there is a path. And sharing also in that, drawing in wisdom from people like yourself or other users. So that's
amazing.
Where I'm headed.
Thank you so much, Paul Brent. So appreciate it. Appreciate you guys. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.